You know why you're here, folks. You know why you're here, but some of you may not know why you're here. And so allow me to assist. There is a brand, there is a man, there is a company that at least I and many that I know hold near and dear to their heart. This is a company that we have continued to support, and they support us, and one that we believe is, if not the best shaving product on the market. It would come very, 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 very close. It's at least, at the very least, in the top one. No, probably the top three. But in the top three, I would put it at one. Why? Because there's innovation, there's performance, there's all sorts of things. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, if you've been living on Mars or the moon, then it's time to cue the brand. This is the brand called Ariana and Evans. Ariana and Evans, of course, is into skincare, fragrance, grooming, you name it. They might even be into other things. I don't quite know. We'll find out, no doubt. The products are of exceptional quality. I don't need to tell you that if you've used them. But we have had nothing but, positive feedback from all the people that have used these products, including myself. I mean, I love the stuff. And at the very real expense of this sounding like a bloody ad, which it isn't. It's not an advertisement. It is truly a product, as I said, that I think is absolutely fantastic and worthy of your attention. Well, speaking of attention, I need to zip into interview mode, and you'll recognize the interview mode. It looks something like this. My little name on the side in case you didn't know who I was. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, the man of the hour. This is, in fact, this could almost be called the annual general meeting, as we bring in the Chief Executive Officer of Ariana and Evans, my friend and yours, Mr. Peter Charkalis, and he's live from the Philippines. Hello, Peter.
How are you, Con? Good to see you.
Look, it's good. It's good to see you too, my friend.
Well, I have some breaking news. I'm going to break it here.
Yep.
So I've made an executive decision. I'm moving out of the Philippines, and I'm going to set up shop in the Antarctica because it's too damn hot. I'm sweating like I won't say what I'm sweating like, but it's brutal here, Con.
Really?
It's absolutely brutal.
I need a close-up.
Yeah.
Wow. You are sweating.
I'm sweating. I do. Oh, I told you before. I just doused my whole body in ice cold water and I'm just trying to cool off. I have air conditioning units going on in here, but it's just not. It's just I need more. But anyway, it's good to be here.
You're looking very youthful, I have to say. You're glistening. In fact, you're glittering.
It's because it's all because of the Ariana and Evans skincare line.
Shameless plug, no doubt.
Yeah. What can I tell you?
You're onward and upward. You're doing some interesting things.
Yeah. So, as you mentioned, I'm in the Philippines. So I'm about, I guess it's a 4.5 hour drive from Manila to Benmali.
Yeah.
So the it's not a state. What is it called? A province. Pangasinan. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Is the area in which Benmali is. And Benmali is a coastal town, very small town, great area. Food is wonderful. It's interesting. It's all like local food. So forget about it if you're going to look for Italian or Ruth Chris Steakhouse. But it's all local food. The food's great. It's wonderful. The people are great. Supplies have been difficult. But we're plugging away. We're getting there slowly but surely. So hopefully sometime by 2025, we'll be able to open up here.
2020. Please don't say that. People will think it's true. It kind of feels like it, though, doesn't it?
Oh, Jesus. I'm supposed to be out of here by the 25th, and I'm going to have to extend it out to probably mid-June.
Wow.
Getting the supply it's been really a challenge. But they are coming in slowly, but I'm sourcing mostly local stuff because getting the stuff from the U.S. has just been a challenge.
That's what I was going to ask you. You're obviously a stranger in a strange land, and I'm sure that the locals have embraced you and your enthusiasm and your your work ethic. But it must be a challenge trying to acquire materials and sort of raw materials that you require for soap making, but also packaging, tubs, printing, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so the printing piece and the tubs, actually the tubs are actually very easy to find. Tubs, I was able to match the tubs exactly what I have,
Yep.
as well as the bottles for the splashes. So that hasn't been a problem. It's just been the oils, because most of what I do, I mix myself.
Yep.
So it's a combination of fragrance oils, essential oils, resins, and absolutes, and what have you. And just getting everything together. I have a big shipment. It's just sitting in customs. And I just have to go through hoops just to get this stuff released.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because this is a segue. And I've said this to people, and I keep saying it, and they think it's probably, I'm sounding like a broken record here. But this is an image from a few weeks back. I think it may even have been about 10 days ago, off Long Beach in California. This is what it's looking like at the moment. There are container ships that can't get into the country. They can't drop off or pick up what they require, and it's mainly dropping off supplies that people are waiting for. It's not as bad here, but of course we're affected because the people that are manufacturing and sending stuff out can't get bottles, can't get, they might be able to get a tub, but they can't get the lid.
Yeah. The bottles have been a real challenge for me. So I purchased my last order was 10,000 bottles.
Yeah.
But I used a lot of that up for the distributor that we have in Europe. So I'm worried where I'm going to get the bottles from now.
Yeah.
So we'll see. That's going to be a real problem. That's going to be an ongoing problem, especially the bottles, because in the U.S. they just don't really manufacture bottles anymore.
No.
Some jars are still made, the plastics, but the glass bottles, really difficult. Really, really, it's a challenge.
This seems to be a common theme amongst most Western nations that have somehow wound down manufacturing and have relied heavily on the subcontinent and on China and various other places to produce product. And now we're feeling the effects of that, of not actually being able to produce homegrown products. And if we can, there are only very, very small components or bits and pieces that we're capable of producing, both in the United States, I would imagine, although I'm sure it's better in the United States, but certainly here in Australia. Look, I'm going to throw up another map because I love a graphic. I read cargo news. I know I don't have a life, folks. If it's boring, I know, but I need to be able to tell people.
Cargo news. I can't wait.
Yeah, and this is. Need to be able to tell people and give them an informed opinion about what's going on, or at least not even an opinion, tell them what's going on. This is a map of some of the ships that are off the coast of China at the moment, okay? And each one of those little dots that you see represents a ship. It's actually, these are queues of vessels which are carrying raw materials off China. They've increased during lockdowns, and of course, China is now experiencing a complete lockdown. And so how can that not affect the supply chains in the world? I mean, it's incredible. And now we hear that North Korea has had its first COVID case. I shouldn't laugh. And they're going to shut down the whole nation.
Well, we don't have to worry about getting supplies from North Korea.
No.
So that's not going to really impact us. But this whole China thing has been so it's been eye-opening, hasn't it? For every country, really, that depends on China for supplies. So I think what's going to happen is you're going to see more and more manufacturers pop up because there's a need for that. Yep. We have to kind of wean away from depending on one nation to supply all these goods. So, but there's going to be a cost associated with that because labor costs are so much more in the U.S. We're going to eat just other countries, even in I don't know why we can't even just have these manufactured. If they can't do it in the U.S., I mean, do it in Mexico. Yeah. But the wages will still be more than what it is in China. So I don't know. Who knows what's going to happen? But certainly we're going to see more delays and higher costs.
Right. So and does this mean more sold out does this mean more sold out stickers on my webpage when when people go in there and they get sick of looking and sick of, they think, what's going on? Why can't this guy get anything? Why isn't he bringing anything? Is he still Peter, we have to dispel the myth that you and I have gone through a rough divorce. We have not. We're still very much in love with each other.
Very much.
Very much. And it's just supply. I mean, that's the problem, isn't it?
Yeah. Shipping to Australia. I mean, there was a period where we couldn't even ship to Australia.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And then just the costs and the risk shipping. I mean, that's why I'm here.
Yeah.
It's a challenge. It's a challenge for any company that sells abroad. And we do a lot of business abroad.
Yeah.
Especially in Europe. So it's a challenge, and there's a cost, and a lot of times the shipments just get lost. They never show up. So that's why I'm here, to be able to provide product at a reasonable price, get it shipped out in our customer's hand much quicker at a really good price. I mean, that's what we're about. My goal is to offer, I'm always looking to have the best product in the industry. Whether we're the best, that's always debatable. But that's always my goal. I want to provide the best product I possibly can provide at the best value.
Yeah.
I don't want to sell soap for $27, $26, $32. I just don't want to do that. Why? Well, because I was a hobbyist just like you.
Yeah.
I was one of the first guys. I think I was like number 50, Shave the Man or whatever it was.
That's right.
I remember when I joined, you had like 50 Greeks. That was it.
And you were the 51st. You were the 51st Greek.
That's right. So I'm a hobbyist, or now I'm in business, but I'm no different than all the other guys.
Yeah.
And but I think so. I think the days of the people waiting by for a release and sitting by the computer and keep pressing refresh, and it doesn't matter what the cost is. I think those days are gone. There's still I think the hobby is still growing, maybe at a different pace, but it's still growing. I'm seeing a lot of young people, especially for our brand, which is great. But a lot of there's a lot of people that will not go above $18 or $17
US.
or $20.
This is US, mind you. Yeah, this is US.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah. Thank you. So that's an enormous market. So I developed the Pedro. Here's another shameless plug, but I developed. This is why I developed the Pedro Fiasco line.
Yeah.
I wanted to hit that market that's really been untouched because of the $20, $25, $32 price range. So we're at under $15 for a 5-ounce tub, and it's really, really good. So I developed that for this market and for the Latin American market,
right?
Which is my what I'm going to hit next after we get here. I mean, I have a retailer. I have a couple down there, but I think that could be another big market in the future. So I'm willing to take these risks.
You mentioned hobbyists, and I have to say that by and large, yes, that is true. The hobbyists essentially drive the demand and the innovation and the next new thing in the hobby. But I've got to say to you that, I mean, the hobbyists would probably be very disappointed with me at the moment, just through lack of stock and all the rest of it. But we're doing really well with people that aren't hobbyists, that are getting into it, that are loving this way of shaving, and they've discovered this whole new world.
Yeah, it's a much larger market.
And that as a market sector is huge. Hobbyists may represent less than one fraction of 1%.
Yeah, so, Amazon probably sells more wet shaving products than I'm guessing, but I don't know, but Magards and West Coast Shaving, and name the top 5 in the U.S. or worldwide, combine them, and Amazon probably just blows them away with stuff. Yeah. And what are they selling? They're selling tubs. They're selling, they're selling
Truefort and Hill, Taylor of Old
product.
Bond
Yeah,
Street, all
yeah.
the boring stuff, the people that think it's boring, the hobbyists that think is boring, you know.
Right, right. So that's what I'm also targeting, the non-hobbyist market, because it's a much larger market. I'm also going after a younger demographic.
Yep.
So there's a much we have as artisans. I'm still an artisan, right? We're not a big manufacturing company, and we have just a small little slither of the business.
Yeah.
There's so much more available to all of us.
Yeah.
But you have to find it. It's not going to necessarily just come to you.
No, that's
you have
right.
to go after it and grab it. So that's what I'm doing.
Folks, we're talking to Peter Charkalis of Ariana and Evans, who is coming to us live from the Philippines. He had to fly in there for the elections and conduct government. No, I'm joking. Absolutely, you're right. The joy that I get though is in putting a product which no one has ever heard of into a customer's hand. And I mean, this is booksellers love doing this too. They booksell, they recommend things when people come into the bookstore. Jumping online and trying to find something that you like is one thing, but when you have someone talk to you about a product, outlines the benefits of the product and all the things that, you'll enjoy using that particular product, that's a whole different level. And that's what we're getting in store. But we need to get more Ariana and Evans, Peter. So what's happening in that regard?
Soon. So as I mentioned, the shipments. So I have I have DHL on hold stuck. I have FedEx and I have UPS. I think we'll get all three. FedEx should be released, I think, tomorrow. Hopefully UPS tomorrow or Monday, and we'll see with where we are with DHL. I still need to speak to them. They need some more information, but it's just insane. But I'm finally ready to start cooking soaps.
Yep.
Saturday.
Right.
So I have enough supplies now where I can start the process. My biggest challenge right now is scenting these soaps. So wow. I may send you 10,000 unscented soaps, Todd.
Please don't do that. Please don't do that.
Kidding. So yeah. So I have a lot of stuff that I'm shipping over from that I already pre-blended, and I thought would be waiting for me. It's still in limbo, but soon. I mean, I thankfully I brought a lot of stuff with me, and I've also found suppliers, a couple different suppliers, so they're kind of backfilling, and it would be ideal if I can depend on them.
Yeah.
For everything. So we'll see. We'll get there, but it takes time. But I have some stuff back there.
Yeah.
I have a storage over here. So, but we're ready now. We're ready to start cooking.
I'm so pleased to hear that. Look, what this means, folks, for at least for the Australian clientele, is that we will be able to maintain very, very reasonable prices and the current range a lot more frequently than when these products were getting shipped out to us from Connecticut in the United States, which is way over the other side of the world, literally way over the other side of the world. So Peter's movements in Asia now and his establishing Ariana and Evans Asia there means that that's good news for us in Australia and New Zealand in particular, because we'll be able to enjoy these. We'll be able to continue enjoying these soaps. We just need to get this ball rolling. And
yeah, it's actually going to even be better than you think, because I'm converting everything is going to K. You're going to get everything in K2E and VR1.
Good.
Okay. And then the Pedro Fiasco line. So that's it. So I have Kaizen, K2, K2E, K2 and Kaizen are going away. Everything is going to be made moving forward in K2E.
But that's what's coming out of the Philippines now will be all K2E.
That's
right. Is that right? Okay.
That's right.
Good.
So Kaizen, the soap,
which
was the soap that when we introduced the Kaizen base, that will be made in K2E.
Right. Can I just say something?
Without raising the price, by the way.
No, I know.
It's more expensive for me to make the soap.
I know.
So I'm bypassing it. So Kaizen, K2, K2E. K2E's much. Kaizen was a great base. It really put us on the map, didn't it?
Yeah.
We really exploded on the scene. And but K2E is significantly better in every metric. Our pricing structure is going to be the same as the original Kaizen soap. So I'm actually reducing because the prices were higher. I'm reducing them. I'm going to keep them all at that previous price.
Can I just say something? I'd like to give our viewers a little bit of an insight into a few things, which I know Peter would probably never ever mention or want to mention. People think, oh yeah, Peter Charkalis, he does all this stuff, throws things together and just comes up with something, and is this self-deprecating thing. Oh, I'm just working this out as I go along. Let me tell you one thing. Whenever Peter has come to Australia, he's stayed with me, and we've developed a very strong friendship, a bond which I'd like to think is unbreakable.
Lifelong, yeah.
Peter agonises over things. They might just come to him while he's on a flight back home, but he's always thinking about how to make things better. And he works very hard, and he's quite driven. This is no fluke. The guy works hard. I mean, how many other people would leave the US and set up it takes a lot of guts and a lot of other things too. Intestinal fortitude. I know, Peter, I've seen you. We've had dinner on numerous occasions. You've stayed at my place, and I see the machinations, the things that go through your mind when you're thinking about things. It's not this. There's something sort of unique that goes on there, and I've witnessed it myself, as I said. And those that know Peter well would be well aware of this as well. He's not just some schmuck that says, oh, I'm going to throw this together and see what happens. He might make some videos which possibly put that across, but he's nothing like that. He's a person who, I'm sorry, I'm singing your praises, but are you blushing? I can't tell.
No, continue, please.
Oh, you like... Yeah, creído. Yes. Some of these forums and things talk about people's, and I don't go onto forums, right? So I don't look and read whatever. But do it yourself. If people out there think they can do this and it's very easy, have a go. Try it yourself, and you'll find very quickly that it's very, very hard. It's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of hours, a lot of dedication. Peter, you put in a lot of time, money, blood, sweat, tears, resources. You're away from your family quite a bit, when you're doing, with your previous work as well. You just don't stop. You're like this ever-ready, the bunny that keeps going. What drives you? Yeah. What is it? What is it really?
So, it's. I've said this before, maybe to you, but in business, I was going to say software, but just in business in general, it's a race without a finish line. Yeah. You have to continue. It's a marathon, but it never ends. You have to keep running and running and running and running. Otherwise, you become obsolete. Yeah. So that term Kaizen, to constantly improve, I live by that. I learned that back in the old days with Xerox Corporation, that they embraced that whole Kaizen strategy when they had lost market share to the Japanese years and years and years ago. Wow. And they were the first U.S. company to win that back. And they actually borrowed that whole thing from the Japanese. But you have to constantly improve. If you rest on your laurels, if I just stuck with Kaizen, we would still continue to do well. But at some point we wouldn't. If you look at the bases today, look at the top soap makers in the industry. Yeah. That list is probably very different than 6 or 7 years ago.
Maybe even 6 months ago.
Yeah. So this is what I do for a living. Yeah. So you have to provide value, and without sacrificing quality. Yeah. So that's what I'm all about. I'm all about trying to provide the very best in the industry, the best I can provide. Yeah. Whether it's the best, that's my goal. That's what I'm always aiming for. Yeah. Yeah. But the best is for other people to decide. But I think we're in the conversation no matter what. Yes. We have very good products. So So that's what drives me. The fact I'm basically scared shitless of failure.
Yeah.
So so I have no choice, but this is what I do now.
Yeah.
If we don't do well, then we don't eat. So and I don't, we don't pay the mortgage and the phone bill and everything else that goes along with it. I certainly wouldn't be able to open up this location.
That's right.
So that's what we look to do. Now, I understand some people don't like the fact that I was introducing a lot of different bases. But I have to tell you something, and also the audience. Think back maybe 2.5 years ago. I mean, I haven't been making soaps that long. So when I introduced our first base, I tell everyone this, and it's the truth. I guessed right. I got lucky. I did a lot of research. Okay, so I did research. I did all the things that you need to do. But when it comes down to it, you have to still guess at the right ratios. Yeah. And damn it, my first soap out of the mini crock pot, I stuck the spoon in. I hardened up. I ran to the bathroom, and just from the spoon, I started to lather it up. I said, "Oh my God, this is actually pretty good." Yeah. And but that was the first base, and then we've introduced a few others since. But people that don't like the idea of this lack of consistency is because we were still in our infancy stage, and I was still learning. So I created this base. Everyone really liked it. It was really good. Yeah. And then I improved it a bit, which was a bridge to. I didn't give it a name, but it was a bridge to Kaizen. Kaizen just exploded. But I knew I could do better. And I'm still learning. So as time would go on, and within a very, very short period of time, I'm learning and I'm trying and I'm creating. I have so many bases that I've created. Now I think we're at a good place where the K2E we're good for a while. Yeah. I'm very comfortable with this base. Can we tweak it? Yeah. I mean, I'm going to tweak this down here. Frankly, the K2E base. So, geez, what should we call it? K2E, what else?
Stop. Just stop then.
No, it's the same base. It's the same base. But I've made a decision for two reasons, actually. You know how K2E, all my soaps, the tallow-based soaps, had some pork fat in it as well. But Jesus, I can't find freaking pork fat down here.
Really?
I can find pork fat at the market, and I'd have to boil it up. Who the hell's got time for that? I ain't got time for that. No. So so I'm just gonna go just straight tallow down here instead of incorporating the pork fat. Nobody's gonna notice a difference. I like the pork fat, but there's also another reason. So I can't find it, number one, and I'm not going to keep shipping it from the U.S. and have it stuck in customs.
Customs, yeah.
Maybe I can find it someplace else, but I'm certainly not going to be able to find it in Malaysia and Indonesia.
No.
So here's the thing. Also, what I've learned through our retailer in Kuala Lumpur. Indonesia and Malaysia. I knew Indonesia was mostly a Muslim country. But I guess Malaysia is as well.
Yes, large somewhat. Parts of yes. So it needs to be halal. It has to be a halal.
Yeah.
Product.
So that the fact that we have pork fat is a bit of a challenge for some, not all, but for some. So I think for those are the two biggest reasons why probably I'll do without the pork fat. And I love it. It really gives a nice consistency. But again, no one's going to notice because it was mostly tallow anyway. Yes. So we'll do that. But yeah, so there's always to get back to your question, the changes, and I'm always experimenting, but we are settling in for those that have complained about that. And again, we're still a very young company. Yeah. We just grew very quickly. We grew rapidly. But we're still, less than 2 years ago, I was doing this at the house. Yeah. 2.5 years ago, I was doing this in the kitchen.
I recall.
So now I'm back in the kitchen here in the Philippines. So that's where we are. So I don't know if I answered your question. I just
You
went all over
have
the place.
no. You have answered my question. I mean, I suspected as much anyway, but it's just for the people that are watching this and wondering what the prime driver is for you. And it's not just, I'm just going to make a new formulation for the sake of it so as I can release it and all the rest of it. There are reasons. You're right. In your infancy as a company, you can't possibly say, oh, well, that's it. I've come up with a wonderful formulation.
I'm done.
I'm done. It's just silly.
Yeah.
It's silly to even suggest that for one moment. I guess what I was getting at is that your level of care. I mean, the fact that you actually care enough to do that. A lot of people just say, good enough is, near enough is good enough, and we'll leave it. It's the line of best fit. If this works, there's no point, fiddling around with it and trying to change things in any way. So I think that alone has been one of the key elements in Ariana and Evans and its meteoric rise to, particularly in Europe. I have to say, you're doing very, very well in Europe. I know that the Italians love you, the Greeks love you, the Spanish love. They all of Europe loves you. I have to say the Australians love you as well, but we need to get more of your product down here, and we will be doing this. Mm-hmm. That's what we need to tell people. That's
your order. Everyone in Australia, cons. We're tackling cons first, and then after that we'll build up inventory. But cons order is going out first.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Peter.
Starting Saturday.
All right. I'll see you in 3 years. No, it won't take that long. No, I'm sure it won't take that long. But please, folks, if you're wondering why this stuff hasn't been, forthcoming, there's a lot of factors. Okay, supply has been the major one, and I guess it is what it is. Maybe I'll have to bring us both into equal footing. There you go. Now we're both occupying the same amount of real estate on the screen. Well, I think that's about it, really, Peter. I mean, unless there's any other announcements or anything you want to say or mention to the lovely people watching.
I just wanted to say that. So we're here to better support this part of the world.
Yeah.
So I know we have a lot of customers, fans, people have supported our product in Australia. You're going to be not only handling Australia, but you're going to be distributing in New Zealand, which is great.
Yeah.
So our product, we'll make sure that on an ongoing basis, our product will be available to you.
Good.
I'm training people here, so I'll have 3 people working for me.
Nice.
Because of course I'm not going to be here, but I'll be here every 90 days, maybe sooner.
Are you sure?
God. Yeah, so I may be
every
here,
90 days,
even more often. Maybe every 60.
That's an electricity cycle here and a water cycle. They read the meter every 90 days. Is that what you're going to do?
Just pretty much, I think so. So, but it's great here. But Jesus, the heat.
It's hot, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it really is. So
anyway, my friend,
I'm glad to be here. It was a great decision, great business decision, and it's great for our brand to just be everywhere. We had this conversation. I know you have to go, but we had this conversation years ago about spreading the tentacles, right?
Yes.
And it's all about touching as many people as you can with your brand.
But the other conversation we also had was about scale. About scaling up and being able to, and I could see the look on your face. I thought, uh-oh. You got back to the States and you said, Con, I've been thinking about that scaling stuff.
Yeah.
Good on you. I mean, congratulations, Peter. I think you've done a remarkable job and will continue to do so.
You're awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. You're, for those, I've spent a lot of time with Con. I used to go to Australia twice a year minimum. And I've spent a lot of time in your store, and that's the most magnificent store I've ever seen for grooming products. It's just anyone should make a trip out. Plus, Lura, I don't know if I'm pronouncing
Lura.
It's Lura.
Yeah, Lura.
It's so beautiful. It's a beautiful place to go away for the weekend, and visit Khan's place, especially when our soaps are there, which will be soon.
Well, thank you, Peter. Look, it's been wonderful chatting. I'm sure we should do this a little more often and keep people informed as to what's happening in this part of the world. I know that our time zones and distance and all the rest of it, the tyranny of distance sometimes works against us, but what will never work against us is our deep understanding and the respect that I have for you, my friend, because I think what you're doing, all jokes aside, and I know that I tend to sort of throw these jokes around all the time, these dad jokes. I'm very proud of what you're doing because I think it's great. Not only from a business perspective. Okay, business is one thing, but it's also the fact that you're able to self-regulate and motivate yourself to do the next thing and to move on and move on. And I think that's to be commended, my friend. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now it's time for me to do a shameless plug before I go. If there's anyone from the United States that's watching this particular live, and they might watch it a little bit later on replay, we are now selling our balm at West Coast Shaving. So the guys at West Coast Shaving were very kind to take on the after balm in both sizes. You'll see so they've taken them on. They weren't the first, of course. I think you were the first, Peter.
That's right.
Yeah. But
some time ago.
But I think, spending $70 to get one after balm in the United States is a little bit prohibitive. For the same reason that you've gone to the Philippines to try and service the rest of the world, this part of the world, it was necessary for us to make that product available in the US, and we've done so, and we're very proud to say that our collaboration.
You're going to move a lot. That balm is exceptional.
Yeah, thank you.
That's going to be really quite successful. Good.
Well, thank you, Peter. Any plans? What do you got planned for this evening? You going out to have some nice dinner or something?
Yeah, I think so. I'll probably there's a place called Bali Bali.
Oh, is there?
Right. So I'll go there tonight. Have some drinks, and I'm waiting for supplies, Con. What am I going to do? I can't twiddle my thumbs. So starting Saturday, it's just
Saturday, huh? Starting Saturday.
Actually, I've been working. I've been putting in 15, 18-hour days here.
Yeah, I know.
So the site's pretty much done, and it's been a lot of work, but it's going to be well worth it for sure. Thank you, Peter. It was an absolute joy.
And thank you, folks, and we'll see you in the next live.